Stat of the day brought to you by Panini America, the official trading cards and NFTs of the Dan Patrick Show. Update the poll results, more phone calls coming up. By the way, I went outside the Traeger grills, and Tyler is smoking the brisket for tomorrow. He said it's 24-hour smoked brisket.
Oh, buddy.
And I said to Doug Gottlieb, our good buddy, wrong day to come in. You miss out on the brisket and meat Friday.
I would stay, but me and Seton had a discussion. I have a daughter who she's a talented bass guitarist.
Okay.
And so I surprised her with tickets to see Primus tomorrow in Long Beach, California. Okay. Les Claypool, famous if you know bass or Too Many Puppies. Anyway, so I would love to stay for Meat Friday, and I am kicking myself. But if you need anybody to test, I could.
I don't think it's going to be ready. I just don't think it. It's 24 hours.
I know,
Doug.
I know.
I saw you got a notebook here. You got notes here?
Well, I don't want to screw it up. I mean, this is a big thing in the new man cave. I've never been. This is incredible.
Okay. How would you label this draft?
This is as good a draft as we've had since I've been doing it. And I've been doing it since 2002, 2003. Yeah, I think 2003 is my first draft I did for the mothership.
Okay, but what makes this such a great draft?
You have the potential of stars at the top. Then you have a good group of players in which I think there'll be a couple emerge as stars. And then you have a great depth of players. But you also have, I even think within that first round, there's like Jeremy Sohan's a kid out of Baylor who fits not necessarily what a superstar would look like, but and I don't want to call him Draymond Green because he's probably going to be more talented offensively, but those super talented role-ish star players, Jalen Williams from Arkansas, like guys that you're going to see in the playoffs for the next, somewhere in the next 10 years. I think you have just about everything. You got young players that are going to develop. You have some older players, a couple of foreign players, but that's not really the thrust of this draft. I just think it's the depth of overall talent. And then you get down the second round and you have some classic guys who you think if they lose some weight, if they fit an NBA scheme, if they buy in, they improve their shooting, they're going to be those. This is a really, really good draft. I mean, I don't know, did you see Notre Dame play? They have a kid, Blake Wesley. Yeah. He's awesome. Downhill, combo guard. Like, he's going to go maybe late first, maybe second round. That's a steal. Compare that to other drafts we've had where guys are just rushing in the process and we don't know what we have. I think this is a really, really deep, solid draft with star potential at the top.
We'll talk about that potential here in a moment. Let me give the official introduction. Host of the Doug Gottlieb Show on Fox Sports Radio, basketball analyst, Westwood One studio analyst. When we start to look at talent and drafting talent, where you have leagues that are copycat leagues, like when the greatest show on turf, the Rams, everybody's like, we're going to be like the Rams. We have to have the personnel to be like the Rams. Golden State. Well, Golden State drafted most of these players. And can you see teams that are going to maybe move away from, let's try to get 2 or 3 superstars, or can you build in the draft?
Oh, I think you can build. The Celtics should build through the draft.
Yeah.
I think you can absolutely if you're smart. And I thought Danny Ainge was exceptionally smart. I think Brad Stevens is smart. And obviously what Golden State and Bob has done is brilliant. The Golden State thing in terms of copying it, I don't think you're going to see that replicated. I mean, you have to think about the two unicorns you have. It's not just that they're two talented stars that root for each other's success and everybody else's. That's rare. But I do think that you'll occasionally will come upon those guys. But it's that they stayed in college for 3 years apiece, and they stayed because they were kind of underrated, undervalued. They also grew up in basketball households and played for savant-like motion offensive coaches. So what they do, they move without the basketball. We don't teach that in basketball. I have a youth program. Like, I'm trying to teach them, but no one plays that way. Everything is with the ball, downhill. And if you don't have the ball, it's about spacing and understanding where you're supposed to be for the next pass and the next pass. You're not moving and reading a screen, the way that you did when you were a player, right? Like, those days are motion offenses. It's not dead, but it's pretty dormant in youth basketball and high school basketball, especially college basketball. So I don't think you can replicate that in how they play, but I do think you can replicate some aspects of it, which is understanding. And I said at the time when they traded for Andrew Wiggins, I thought it was a home run. I just thought a home run. And it's what and look, Nick Wright has has politely eaten his words because I've heard him on your show and he destroyed the trade. But he was viewing it from the wrong lens. Right? He's viewing it from, do you want Andrew Wiggins to have the ball to decide Game 7 in NBA Finals? Like, no, but he didn't have to do that with the Warriors, right? He's the fourth option. He doesn't have to carry the burden of anything. He just go play. And when he played, that's what changed in that series. Like he started to play, they won the series. So again, but it's about finding the right roles. And I think you have some guys, and I think that's what you can do if you're trying to copy Golden State is can you draft a guy? And I know in the NFL, they say don't reach for a need. It's not necessarily a need, but putting somebody in a position to best succeed. And that doesn't mean drafting them and handing them the basketball to be something that they're not good enough at the top of the league. And I think that's the part that you can copy. That's why you might overdraft a Jalen Williams or a Jeremy Sohan, because though they don't have as much God-given talent to score, it's all the other things that actually help you win.
And you start to look at need and need over talent. Mm-hmm. And I always go, I just want a guy who can play because basketball is positionless now. Now can you play? Jaden Ivey, I don't know what position, but he can play. Now, somebody might go, well, we have too many guys at that position. Where do you stand on need versus talent?
Well, yes, you can play, but here's the big thing, okay? Can you guard multiple positions? That's a huge thing. Like what was
Wiggins.
Right, but any of these guys. Yeah. Okay, so like look at Golden State. They have one guy who's not particularly good defensively, and then Jordan Poole's the other. And Steph, for his lack of size and strength, he does try. So that helps him. But you got to hide him, right? He doesn't switch. You can't hide two. It's really hard to have smaller players. And one of the things we make a big mistake on as fans, and I think sometimes as analysts, we only look at one side of the floor. If a guy can't guard anybody, he can't play in this league. You have to be so good on offense. James Harden, right? You have to be so good. And James Harden when he was right, was otherworldly. And I don't know if we have a guy like that. So when you start getting past the superstar potential guys, if you can't guard, you can't play. So that just like crosses you off the list, right? That's still been a limiting factor with Jordan Poole is he doesn't guard anybody and he's getting better at it, but he still doesn't really guard anybody. So you can have one of those guys. That guy better be your best player, So I think, yes, I don't think you have to worry about positions per se, but there are technically positions. Like the question for Chet Holmgren, he's got incredible, what's called functional length. You know what that is?
Well, he can handle, he can...
No, functional, so everybody thinks about it like your wingspan.
Yeah.
Okay, in basketball or in sports, your functional length is from your elbow to the top of your fingertips, right? If you put your elbows next to your stomach. He has unbelievable functional length. So that allows him to just get his hands on basketballs, deflect things. It's going to allow him to get his shot off more often. Like all of those things are important. Is he a 5 where he defends the rim and he's in drop coverage? Probably, but he's so light and so thin. And what does he look like when you put 25 pounds on him? Because he has narrow shoulders and a little bit of a hunchback. Yeah. He has all the check marks in terms of competitiveness and skill and length. And I think he'll shoot the ball better at the next level. But I wonder where that size goes. And his shoulders are really narrow. And do people want to compare him to Kevin Durant? Like, okay, Kevin Durant's also a unicorn, but he's always handled it better. And frankly, Kevin was a better rebounder at Texas and a better shooter scorer. So I don't think that's the comparison. So yes, you want guys that can play, but you got to be able to guard somebody. You got to figure out, there's really two positions defensively, right? Which is you're either defending the rim or you're 1 through 4, you're switching everything. So you have to be you have to be able to fit into that in terms of positions. And then you got to be able to shoot. If you can't shoot, you better be able to get to that rim. And the Ivy thing is interesting because he can really guard, great athlete, gets the rim, improving shooter, but he can make up for it because he's such a freak athlete. His thing is, can he be a leader of a team because he's fairly quiet? If you watch Purdue play, he was almost set aside from the rest of them. He didn't feel like he was in on the Purdue thing. That was a little bit weird.
I like him a lot. I don't need him to be a leader. I just want him to be Klay Thompson's not a leader. Klay just shows up and plays.
Yes, but Klay also doesn't have the ball all the time, right? There's a difference. Like if you have the ball all the time, there's a certain leadership aspect to it. You are who your best player is. Jaden's going to demand the ball, and he's probably going to take the best defensive assignment defensively. I think he'll be really, really good. My only two concerns with him is his shot is not, it he's really improved it, and that's a big thing from year one to year two.
Yeah.
It takes him a little while, but it's more the interacting. He's a little standoffish in terms of personality wise. That's nitpicking. He's going to be a fourth or fifth, or I know Indiana he will not get past sixth, and they'll probably do everything in their power to move up and get him.
Would you take Holmgren number one?
No, no, I'd take Jabari one.
Okay, no matter who that team is.
I mean, but because Jabari is a guy who you can play anywhere.
Yeah.
Chet a little bit more limited, but look, Chet has an incredibly high ceiling, probably a lower floor. I think the question is number two. Really, it's Paolo or Chet. Paolo's he's a little bit older,
But he's ready now.
He's ready now. You don't even need the microwave. Just throw him out there. He's ready to go, and he'll get you buckets. Great body.
But is he better than Jabari?
I think he's a little bit better now. I think Jabari, though, has a higher ceiling. And Jabari has all those other check marks.
All right, let me get a couple of, we're talking to Doug Gottlieb. The Nets situation, how does this end?
I mean, I think they, I don't know. I think they go as they are. I think they try one more shot as they're currently constructed. But that comes down to, does Kyrie opt in? Because I don't think if you listen to Sean Marks' words, all of those things he said he wanted, guys that are committed, right? Guys that show up, they play for each other. That was direct shots across the bow at who Kyrie is. Yeah. And, Kyrie's no dummy, and these guys take everything personally. If he doesn't take it personally, he says, okay, I'll show everybody. But I thought you pointed out well, he's a wild card. Literally no one has any idea what he's thinking or what he's doing.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
No, he's Tyson zone, right? Isn't that you ever the Tyson zone? That's a Bill Simmons deal where there's no story about Mike Tyson you wouldn't believe to be true.
Oh,
right.
Well, that's like Rodman zone too.
Right. Same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the same thing with Kyrie. There's nothing he would do that would surprise you.
Can the Lakers stand pat and be a damaging playoff team?
No. That thing is a disaster with Russell Westbrook. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They can soft sell it. That destroyed the entire fabric of that team because it was a choice that LeBron made, right? They were going to get Buddy Hield, and they said, no, we want control over this thing, okay? And they met with several players. It's been well documented. DeMar DeRozan thought he was going there. They handpicked Russell Westbrook, and then when they figured out Russell Westbrook can't play, and they can't play with him, they distanced themselves. He was on an island last year. And you know how LeBron acts. When LeBron's done with you,
he's done with you.
Right? There's no interacting. He's not confrontational. He's just not into you. And he ain't into him. So no, they can't stand
Why did they have to trade for him to realize that he couldn't play?
I don't know. I don't. Whoever okayed that decision, They all should be gone, but they're not. And they fired Frank, and Frank was a good enough coach to win him a championship, and then they destroyed everything that he built. It was mismatched parts, but the biggest part was that you had Russell Westbrook, and he wouldn't defend, he couldn't shoot, he wouldn't buy into defensive rotations, he wasn't a good teammate. And when they were in the bubble, they had incredible culture. That's why they won, not because they were the best team.
So what do you do with Westbrook?
I would trade him. Or buy him out and stretch him. That's what he did with Luol Deng. And that's why he did it with Luol Deng, because you didn't want around your young players.
Is he still getting paid?
No, I think he's just now off the books.
Okay. But who wants Russell Westbrook?
No, nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, there's talk that Oklahoma City might because they need the salary, right? They're so far underneath the salary cap.
Yeah.
I don't see that one. I see that being poisoned to the young guys they're trying to build around. I mean, what does it say about Houston that they are, and Paulie pointed this one out, right? That he's played, 60 games now in
John Wall
in 3 years?
Yeah.
And, they'd rather him not be around the team and pay him $47 million
That's crazy.
than play.
It's crazy.
It's the greatest country on earth.
Kevin Durant looking at what Steph Curry just accomplished, and what is KD, 34?
Yeah.
So
do you think it takes away from KD?
Yes.
Why?
Well, he had to join Steph. Steph won without him twice. Steph finally got his finals MVP.
We saw the finals.
Should have had a second one.
You saw the two finals, right? He was in 3.
Yeah.
Who was the best player on the floor?
KD.
Okay. That's with LeBron James. He was the best player. And then in the finals he got hurt in, they were floundering. KD plays one half of one game before getting hurt. he was the best player. So like, I get it. Like, look, Steph's incredible. And part of it is KD takes everything so personally. But at some point, wouldn't you? You're like, look, dude, I was on that team. I was the best player. Everybody knew I was the best player. Steph knew I was the best player. America knew I was the best player. Now I'm not on the team and they win. It's great. But that takes away from me? No, it should just continue to point out how great they are and that organization is.
Who's had a better career?
A better career? Kevin Durant. Like, did the Olympics not happen?
Who cares about the Olympics? I could have gotten a gold medal on that team.
They would not have won if Kevin Durant didn't play.
Oh,
they would not have won. Did you watch the
Who cares? I was there at the Olympics.
I know, you were covering the Olympics.
Who cares about the Olympics?
I'm just saying, look,
you know that Sue Bird's the greatest basketball player of all time.
No, you're using
the Olympics. I got to throw in the Olympics. She's been on 5 gold medal teams. Like, come on.
No, but when you're around the best, when you're around the best players, and they all say you're the best player.
Barkley was the leading scorer on the Dream Team.
He wasn't the best player.
He was the leading scorer.
Who was the alpha on that team?
Mike was.
Okay, so that's really the point I'm trying to make.
He led the team in scoring.
Okay, I mean, look,
Steph has a better resume than KD.
Resume? I'm not. You didn't say resume. You said who's had a better career. That's a resume is not career.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yes. How do you define a career? I got to look at your resume.
No, I would. To me, it's more like, look, he's led the league in scoring. Was it 5 times? He's won. He's been the best player in the gold medal team. He's been a Finals MVP. You know, he took Oklahoma City to the finals and with that young crew. And what he did, like going back to last year when Harden was hurt and Kyrie gets hurt as well. Shocker here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Game 7 by a toe on the line, he nearly puts them through to the NBA Finals against the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, that guy, to me, it's like we want to find a way to diminish things KD's done.
He's a great player.
He's this generation's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Can I hit you with it? Right? You ready? Unstoppable shot, much like the skyhook. His pull-up jump shot's unstoppable. Right. Kind of uncomfortably socially, and like you're pointing out, I don't think he'll ever be truly recognized for as great a player as he is.
I think Kareem's the most underrated player in NBA history.
And I think 20 years from now, we'll probably look back and say the same thing about Kevin Durant. Now, the difference is it's his own decision, right?
Yeah.
To leave Golden State and to buy into Kyrie and want to play with friends. But I think that's much what we're going to say 20 years from now. I'd be like, man, you know who was actually the best? Was actually Kevin Durant was the best player in the league for like a 5-year span there. And then he got hurt and he had all this other stuff going on. And you're like, yeah, but he didn't do it. That gets in the nuance. I think that's why he's this generation's Kareem.
Good to see you.
There's no meets at all?
No, there's none.
Do people know how sick this place is? See, I think the way they shoot it, because you're sitting there, it looks like the old place.
Yes.
This is spectacular.
Yeah. If you have Oklahoma State Doug Gottlieb jersey and you want to hang it in here.
I have one bone to pick for you.
Oh, what?
Look, how long has Fritzy been with you?
20 years.
How long has Paulie been with you?
I don't know. 15.
Okay. Seton?
That's
12, like 15, 12, 15?
12,
okay.
13.
How come they didn't get a part in the movie?
Sandler picked up.
No.
Yeah, it was.
No,
Sandler, it's a Philly movie and McLovin's from Philly.
But if Dan Patrick calls.
Oh, no, I don't do that.
Todd Fritz.
I don't do that.
How does Todd Fritz not have an appearance in
I got him in another movie.
But
how many movies have I got you guys in?
3, I think.
3 movies.
I just want to, like, this is not for me. This is for them.
You're
and this
better
is for,
than that. You should know the answer before you ask the question. I've gotten them, they've been in 3 movies.
All of them?
Yes, all of them.
Okay, but the Sandler's movie is really, really good.
I know.
And you're kind of the gatekeeper.
Yeah,
that's what everybody says. You're the gatekeeper. So I want to know what Fritzy did, because I've been looking at the guest list and it's been spectacular. And is he trying to get back on the movie circuit? I don't know what's going on here.
Fritzy's known as the big segment. You know, he comes up with the gas, big segment. That's his nickname. If you're watching on Peacock, Doug will be putting on a shooting display out here in the man cave.
Oh, we're doing this again.
Yes, as only you can.
But now you don't have the low roof.
Yeah, well, let's see what you can do.
And I shot airball.
We're live.
8 seconds. So we get back to South Bend. Okay? And there's a blinking red light. And that's how you knew you were going to meet with the pilot. This is, the secretary would set up a meeting, you go down, close the door, and then you offer your coat, and then you talk. And we didn't talk about the game. We talked about my free throw shooting. Took me out on the court. This guy never played basketball. And he had called Denny Price, who was like his shooting guru. And he's like, we want to get you what was the guy who played for him for the Suns?
Kevin Johnson?
No.
Alvin Adams?
Not Alvin Adams. I'll think of it in a second.
Elliot Perry?
No.
Ricky Sober.
No, I'll think of it in a second. Anyway, he's
Curtis
like,
Perry.
he gets me like this, like elbows in, foot forward, here. We're shooting the ball, and I was like, literally for an hour, shooting free throws like that.
Hornacek?
What happened? I got to college, I got really big, went from 160, 175. And so I was big and I was a little tight, and I wasn't shooting the ball well. But then he tried to change my shot in the middle of the season.
Just because you shot an air ball.
I wasn't shooting well to begin with.
Oh.
I was a freshman, I was tight.
But how do you get the yips?
As anybody.
But you're a good player
I was a
in
great player.
high school.
I was a great player.
Well,
I knew when it happened.
you're a good player.
I was playing Dominguez. No, I was a great player. I was All-State in California. I was a Magic's All-American. I could play. So
Is that your career or resume?
on my resume. So we can submit.
It's not necessary. It's really not necessary.
There we go. I can still make it. There we go. I made him.
but you don't wanna-
The problem was I made him when I was shooting with like this.
That looks like you're out of the 50s.
Yeah. Seriously.
Jimmy
That's what it
Chitwood.
was. So then he sends me after the season, and I stayed with Denny Price, okay, and Brent comes in. So I've been working out with Denny for like 2 or 3 days, and Denny's got my hand in front of the ball.
So this is Mark Price's
Mark,
dad.
yes, he used to be his assistant in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And so I'm in the gym, and now I'm shooting like threes like that, right? My hand in the front, right? And Brent Price comes in, fresh out of the NBA, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I go, "Well, your dad wanted me to get my left hand off the ball, so he put the ball in front." It's like, well, just because he says it doesn't mean to do it.
That's got to mess you up.
And I was like, "What? I've been down here, I've been working and eating up like it." I was all sweaty. True story.
If you were watching on Peacock, I put on a shooting exhibition. Doug Gottlieb took some shots out there. Took some shots at me, too. This day in sports history, Doug's staying with us as we close up shop. The Doug Gottlieb Show later on today at Fox Sports Radio, and a Westwood One NCAA studio analyst today.
I shot the ball well there. I shot the ball really well.
You did all right.
Yeah.
You did all right.
All right. I shot the ball well. Walter Davis, by the way, is who John McLeod's like. I want to shoot the ball like Walter Davis. You get your elbows in there, and you get your left hand forward. Late great John McLeod was a great man.
Yeah.
Was not a basketball player.
Yeah.
Taught me how to shoot a basketball.
That's not good.
Not a great idea.
Yeah. All right. So what happens tonight? What's the biggest surprise that happens tonight with the NBA draft, in your opinion?
I think there'll be an all-star trade tonight. And that's I think the question, right? The Washington
Beal?
Wizards. That's the one that you sit there and go, he's already made up his mind. I don't know. I thought the trade between Detroit and Portland was interesting, going back to yesterday, right? But I think if Beal's not going to re-sign or is going to sign and trade with Washington, it happens tonight. So that's the one to watch.
Would you take a big swing if you're Golden State and say, because I don't know about these younger guys. I don't know if Wiseman can play. I like Poole. They're going to re-sign Wiggins. But would you take a swing and try to get Bradley Beal?
What do I have to give up?
Well, that's what I don't know what Washington wants in return.
I would say, yeah. Like, do they want Kuminga and
what if you gave him Kuminga and Poole and you got Bradley Beal?
Done tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to be enough
Yeah.
for Brad Beal.
This day in sports history, Paulie, what do you have for us?
1972, U.S. President Richard Nixon signed the Higher Education Act, Title IX, as it's called. And 1996, Michael Johnson, the sprinter, broke the 200-meter record and ran at 19.66 seconds.
The Rockets on this day traded Elvin Hayes to the Bullets for Jack Marin. How did that work out? Ouch. Although Jack Marin, great shooter, but Elvin Hayes, one of the great players of all time. Final results of the poll question there, Seton O'Connor.
Dan, which sport is the most difficult to officiate? Right now, football's winning 37%. Hockey and basketball are tied.
You want to weigh in on that, Doug?
I think basketball is the hardest. Hockey, I don't understand half of it anyway. So, I watched last night. It was pretty great. But
Yeah.
But I would say between basketball and football and baseball, I think basketball far and away. because there's so much contact, especially the way it's played now. There's so much contact on every play, and contact is supposed to be a foul, so it's really hard to determine. And I get it. Football is hard, but football, there's enough officials, and you're looking at a specific play or specific area. I think football is a little bit easier.
You got 30 seconds. So I took away the 3-point shot in the NBA. Who would be the team to beat?
Who's got guys who can score? Probably the Lakers.
Oh,
right? Because you got two guys that can score. You got two monsters down there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting one. I mean, do you move it back? Do you move it out? My late father thought you move it out, you expand the court. I don't know how they do that with the seating.
I just want to see movement.
They do move. Honestly,
you
they
go
move.
in and then you kick out.
They move way more now than they did. Go back and watch games 25, 30 years ago. They actually move way more now.
Well, 25, 30 years ago, that was
they did
bad basketball.
They did iso ball. I mean, when Jordan was first in the league, it was iso ball, right? Even the triangle it has ball movement, but at the end of the day, it's isolation and set spacing.
So you got to tell Doug how you play 3-2-1.
This is the 3-2-1 game. While I'm dribbling, you guys just start going 3-2-1, and I got to shoot it wherever I'm at.
If you miss, your team's out of the tournament. You're down one, you have a chance to advance to the next round.
So it's a one and done. If you miss, you're out.
That's it.
It's like
Just to get to the Sweet 16.
The other version of this game is if you hit this shot, like Coach K will give you a scholarship. Right? You know what I mean? You get one shot basically. The only
Or
one that
Eddie
you watch.
Sutton will give you one. Because he handed
Eddie
them out
Sutton
all
will give
the
you a
time.
scholarship.
Wait, come on.
Ready?
Wow.
3,
Nice.
2, 1.
I'll take a
There
pie
it
for you.
goes! Oh!
I'll take a pie for you guys.
All right, Marv.
No, not me.
3, 2, 1.
Bench.
Oh, that does look like it.
No scholarship.
No scholarship.
No scholarship.
No, I didn't count it down. That's traveling. Let's go the other way. 3, 2, 1.
There it is.
Oh, no.
So close.
So close.
Doug, 3, 2, 1.
that's all.
I don't know if he got it
Is there
off.
another round? We have time for another round.
I didn't get it off?
I don't know.
We still have
I don't
time.
know if you
We
did.
got time for another round.
Satan, let's go.
Oh,
3.
yours. No make.
Nobody made their
No one
second.
gets a scholarship.
Shot.
No one gets a scholarship.
Yeah. We're all losers.
You're all a bunch of freaking losers.
You're all worthless.
Doug, 3, 2, 1. I like it. And don't be jumping on your surgically repaired knee.
It's fine now. It's a year ago.
Sign a waiver.
Literally
looks like
last July.
Your favorite.
Last July. And
Here you go.
Yeah, a little bit.
One more.
3, 2,
oh, bucket.
1. Rich Eisen shows up next. Meet Friday tomorrow. My thanks to Doug Gottlieb.